Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving deep into the incredible story of a pharaoh who ruled for a staggering 66 years, fought one of history's greatest battles, and get this, signed the world's very first peace treaty.
So, we're going to explore how one of Egypt's most famous rulers completely redefined what it means to be powerful, not just with swords and chariots, but with incredibly clever words and absolutely colossal stone.
Okay, here's our game plan. We'll start with a dynasty born from crisis. Watch the rise of a pharaoh for the ages and see how a brutal battle led to something brand new, a peace treaty. And then we'll see how it all got cemented into an empire of stone. Let's get into it.
So first, we have to set the stage. We're jumping back to a time when Egypt, believe it or not, was kind of on the ropes after a whole lot of internal chaos.
Okay, so imagine this. The golden age of pharaohs you've heard of, like Tutankhamun, it all comes to this messy, chaotic end. A pharaoh named Akhenaten started a religious revolution that basically fractured the entire kingdom. And the result? Egypt's empire just crumbled. They lost huge, vital territories. The glory was seriously fading.
So, who do you call in a crisis like this? Soldiers. Yep, the 19th dynasty wasn't started by some long line of royals. It was founded by military men. Ramesses I was a general who was handpicked to take charge, and his dynasty had one single, crystal-clear mission: take back what was lost and put Egypt back on top.
And this enormous mission would fall to the grandson of that first general, a pharaoh whose ambition and whose name would be carved right into history, Ramesses II.
So when Ramesses II took over from his father Seti I, he was not the kind of guy to just, maintain the status quo. No way. He had this burning ambition. From day one, his focus was laser sharp: finish what his father started, crush the rival Hittite Empire, and reconquer Syria.
And this, right here, this sets the stage for a truly monumental clash. You've got the two superpowers of the ancient world on a collision course. On one side, Ramesses II with his elite army. On the other, the Hittite king, Wuwatali II, with a massive coalition force and thousands of chariots. This wasn't going to be some small border skirmish. This was shaping up to be an epic, world-changing showdown.
And this epic rivalry all came to a head at one of the largest and honestly one of the best documented battles of the entire ancient world.
The year is 1274 BC. Ramesses is just 5 years into his reign, and he marches his army of 20,000 soldiers north. Their target? The fortress city of Kadesh. You can think of it as the strategic key to the whole region. Whoever controlled Kadesh controlled Syria. Period.
So as he's approaching Kadesh, Ramesses gets tricked. Hittite spies convince him their army is miles and miles away. He buys it. He pushes ahead with just one division of his army and walks right into a trap. Thousands of Hittite chariots slam into his flank. His Ra division completely shatters. Ramesses himself is almost captured. But in that moment of absolute crisis, he shows incredible courage, personally leading a charge that somehow holds the line just long enough for his elite reinforcements to show up and save the day. And this is where the story gets really fascinating. On the battlefield, it was a brutal, bloody draw, a stalemate. Ramesses didn't take Kadesh, and the Hittites suffered massive losses. But back home, it was spun as a legendary victory. Both kings went back to their kingdoms and carved these huge, elaborate scenes on their temple walls, saying they won a divine triumph. Talk about ancient propaganda. This is projecting strength, even when the reality is a whole lot messier. But here's the twist. That bloody stalemate at Kadesh, it actually led to something totally unprecedented, something way more impactful than any single victory could ever be.
So you gotta ask, right? Why, after 15 more years of fighting, would these two mortal enemies suddenly decide to make peace? Well, it wasn't because they were tired of fighting each other. It was because a new, much more dangerous player entered the game: the rising Assyrian Empire, which was threatening the Hittites from the east. All of a sudden, they had a common enemy. So, in 1258 BC, a full 16 years after that chaotic battle, Ramesses II and the new Hittite king, Hattusili III, did something truly revolutionary. They put down their weapons and they started talking. They negotiated and signed a landmark peace treaty.
And this wasn't some flimsy ceasefire, This was the real deal, a sophisticated defensive alliance.
It set out clear borders, it promised military aid if either empire got attacked, and it even had clauses to make sure their royal family stayed on the throne. This was diplomacy on a level the world had just never seen before.
It's just this powerful reminder of the enduring power of diplomacy. In fact, it's recognized today as the earliest surviving peace treaty in all of world history, a testament to the idea that even the fiercest rivals can find common ground when they need to.
Okay, so with his borders now secured by a silver tablet, Ramesses the diplomat set out to cement his legacy in something way more permanent: stone. He totally transformed Egypt's landscape with colossal monuments that would stand for millennia.
The man unleashed one of the most ambitious building sprees in all of Egyptian history. I mean, from the absolutely breathtaking temples at Abu Simbel, literally carved out of a mountainside, to his huge mortuary temple, the Ramesseum, he put his name and his face on everything. And this wasn't just ego. It was like a nationwide billboard campaign advertising the eternal power and stability of his reign.
And the scale of this stuff is just hard to wrap your head around. 1,000 tons. Let that sink in. That's the estimated weight of a single granite statue of himself at his temple. That's heavier than a dozen space shuttles. This wasn't just building. It was a statement of power on an unimaginable scale.
So, after an incredible 66-year reign, how should we remember this larger-than-life pharaoh? What's the final verdict?
Well, you can really split his reign into two distinct halves. He started out as this young, ambitious warrior, dead set on winning back Egypt's empire by force, but he matured into this incredibly shrewd statesman who figured out he could get a longer, more prosperous peace through diplomacy and then project his power through magnificent architecture.
He didn't just succeed in his dynasty's mission, he completely surpassed it. He restored Egypt's glory and created an image of power so strong that it has basically become our vision of ancient Egypt. It's why he isn't just known as Ramesses II. He is and always will be Ramesses the Great.
Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Was his greatest legacy really built of stone? Or was it built on the words written on that silver tablet? We all remember the giant statues, but it was the peace treaty that made all of that building possible. A pretty powerful testament to a pharaoh who understood that true, lasting power is built with both might and mind.